All right, today we are going to map out how you can land one of the hottest careers on the planet right now, AI sales. And look, we're not talking about just any old tech job. We're talking about getting a role at a company that is truly on the cutting edge, where the growth and the money are absolutely real.
So, are you looking for a sales career that actually has a future? One with a genuinely steep upward path? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to dive into one of the most lucrative and fastest growing fields in the entire tech industry today. And when I say serious compensation, I'm not kidding. Check this out. This number, that's the on-target earnings for top-tier enterprise sales jobs at public AI companies. It's a big number for sure, and it really just sets the stage for the massive opportunity we're about to break down.
Look, this isn't just some passing trend or a bunch of hype. We are literally in the middle of a modern-day gold rush for AI talent, especially for people who can actually sell these incredibly complex products. So let's get into why this opportunity is just so huge. Okay, let's cut right to the chase. What's the biggest difference? It's the paycheck. Top AI sales roles can pay up to 40% more than your standard software sales gig. And the reason for that is pretty simple. The sale itself is just way more complicated.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. You're not selling some simple plug-and-play tool. Nope. You are orchestrating a massive business transformation that involves the tech team, the legal team, the finance team, everyone. Getting all of them to sign off on a huge multi-year deal, that's a high-level skill. And that is what commands that premium paycheck. All right, so let's pull out the map. To succeed in this world, you have to know exactly which jobs to go for and which companies are the real deal versus the ones that are just risky bets. This is your guide to the entire landscape. Okay, this is super important. You have to aim for the right job title based on where you are in your career. If you're just starting out, you're looking at roles like SDR or AI Adoption Specialist. Basically, generating leads and helping new customers get going. Then in the middle, you've got the Enterprise Account Executive. That's the person closing the big deals. And at the top, you're a Strategic Account Director, handling the biggest, most important clients. This table really lays out the whole path for you. And these are the big leagues, the heavy hitters. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Databricks, NVIDIA, and Cohere are leading the charge. They've got proven foundational tech, they've got serious funding, and they have the budgets to pay top dollar for the absolute best talent. But here's the million-dollar question, right? In this gold rush, how do you tell the real gold from the fool's gold? The whole space is flooded with startups, and you've got to know how to spot a solid company versus one that might just disappear in a year.
So here's the secret decoder ring you need. There are basically two types of AI companies out there. The real ones own their own technology, they have their own research teams building models from the ground up. Then you have the wrapper startups. They're basically just putting a pretty face on someone else's tech, usually by calling an API from a company like OpenAI. That business is incredibly fragile, which makes it a much riskier place to build your career.
Okay, section 3. Let's get into the playbook. You know the companies, you know the roles. Now, how do you actually get your foot in the door? And more importantly, how do you completely crush the interview?
First things first, let's blow up the biggest myth out there right now. You do not need a computer science degree. You don't need to be a coder. What these companies are desperate for is something called commercial translation. That's the skill of taking really complex technology and explaining it in simple business terms. That is the real golden ticket. Now, while you don't need to be an engineer, you absolutely have to speak the language. And that means you've got to understand these 5 core concepts. Things like LLM latency, which is all about how fast the model responds, or the difference between fine-tuning and RAG, which are 2 ways to customize a model for a customer. This stuff is your non-negotiable knowledge base. Let's take hallucination, for example. This isn't just some techie jargon you need to memorize. Understanding this is about knowing how to handle your buyer's single biggest fear. It is the most common objection you will face, period. And being able to tackle it head-on is absolutely critical. Okay, so when you get to the interview, they're not going to ask you to write code. Instead, they're going to test you with real-world situations, just like these. They'll ask you to explain an LLM to a CFO, handle that hallucination objection, prove you've closed a complex deal before, and show them you can calculate ROI. It all comes back to one thing: proving you can translate tech into business value. All right, you did it. You navigated the whole process, you nailed the interview, and you landed the job. Awesome. So, what's next? What does the path forward actually look like? Let's talk about how fast you can grow and how you can lock in your future in this incredible space. Check out this timeline. This shows you just how fast you can climb.
Seriously, in the old world of software sales, a jump like this could take 8, maybe 10 years. But in AI, it is totally possible to go from an entry-level SDR role to a director of revenue, pulling in over $350K in just 5 years. The pace is just insane.
So why is this happening so fast? It's simple: supply and demand. The market is growing way faster than the supply of experienced AI sales leaders. That creates a huge vacuum at the top and is pulling the best salespeople up into leadership roles way, way sooner than you'd see in any other part of tech.
Okay, this is huge. When you get that offer letter, the conversation is not over. You have to negotiate. And don't just focus on the base salary. Signing bonuses are totally standard at these well-funded AI companies. You know, you could be looking at $15,000 for an experienced hire or even up to $40,000 for a senior role. And honestly, it's often easier for a company to get a one-time bonus approved than a permanent raise.
So this is your negotiation playbook. 3 key moves you have to make. 1, always ask for a signing bonus. 2, get clarity on your commission accelerators. That means you should earn a higher rate the more you sell over your quota. And 3, this is a big one, secure double trigger equity. It protects your stock if the company gets bought. These 3 things can just massively boost your total compensation.
And finally, let's talk about the big question. How do you make sure your job is safe from, well, AI itself? The key is to double down on the skills that are uniquely human, the stuff that AI just can't do. We're talking about building real trust in relationships, navigating complex deal strategy, and using your deep human judgment. These are the skills that will always be valuable.
And that brings us to the single most important thing to remember from all of this. AI is not going to take your sales job, but a salesperson who knows how to use AI absolutely will. Automation isn't a threat you should be scared of. It's a tool you need to master. The winners will be the ones who let AI handle the boring stuff so they can focus on the human connections that actually close deals. So the only real question is, are you ready?